In this video, we chat about 7 surprises of the new 2021 Honda CRF250L and 250L Rally. Hi, I'm Francois from adventurebiketroop.com, where we chat about bike riding, maintenance, travel tips and more. Please subscribe to this channel and give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. So Honda recently launched the new Honda CRF250L and 250L Rally models in Japan. It was the 13th of November, and I had a look at the press release, read up on the specs because I haven't seen the new bike yet, and we're going to chat about 7 new surprises about the 2021 model Honda CRF250L and 250L Rally. So number 1 is the new 2021 model CRF250L and Rally models has a slipper clutch, and that makes it much more comfortable, especially off-road. If you gear down quickly, you don't have the back wheel hopping around. It also makes the drivetrain last longer, and it's less effort for the rider. That's what they say, translated from Japanese to English. But anyways, the slipper clutch is quite a nice feature on an entry-level dual sport bike like this. It's usually only on more road bikes and adventure bikes, more expensive bikes. So that's a nice addition. Whew, it's hot. So number 2 are new updated or changed gear ratios. So I'm going to read what they said. This is translated from Japanese into English. The gear ratio improves usability by setting the 1st to 5th gears, which are often used in street riding and off-road driving, to low ratios, and the 6th gear, which is intended for cruising on highways, to higher ratios in accordance with the powerful torque characteristics. So I checked out the gear ratios and compared it to the 2020 model to see if there is really a difference, and it was confirmed exactly what they say there. The 1st and 2nd gears are 6% lower geared, 3rd gear is 5% lower, 4th gear 4% lower, and then 5th gear is exactly the same ratio, and then the tall 6th gear for highway riding is actually 4% taller. So it is exactly as they say, more usable off-road, slower riding in traffic, so lower ratios, same spacing, and then the high gear is taller for better fuel consumption, more comfort, less RPMs if you're cruising on the highway, which it's awesome, because the Rally is an awesome touring bike. I think it's the perfect touring bike, but we'll get to that a bit later. Whew. So then number 3, fuel consumption meter. It's got a fuel consumption meter on the LCD display. It's got a gear indicator. The fuel consumption is quite nice. It just helps you to gauge when your tank's gonna run empty. Again, awesome for touring, especially on the Rally model. And this is again something that you find on adventure bikes, more expensive bikes, not on cheap entry-level dual sport. So that's quite a nice addition. And the gear indicator, it's not necessary, but a lot of people like it. I mean, it is nice if you're off-road, trail riding, you want to know, are you in 2nd or 3rd gear? I mean, in a tricky situation, it might be a nice thing to have. And then the font of the LCD is 6mm taller, 23mm versus 17mm. I don't know, is it necessary to put that in as a feature, but anyways, it's there, so it is a new feature. Then number 4. Okay, now's the time to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, please. I really appreciate it. Then number 4, the power. So they did do a lot of changes to this bike. It's not the same, exactly the same inside the engine and the tuning, etc. I'm not going to go into the throttle body sizes and whatever, but anyways, the power is up 1 kilowatt from 17 kilowatts to 18 kilowatts, and it is 1 Newton meters up in the torque, 22 Newton meters to 23 Newton meters on the new model. So kilowatts and Newton meters, 1 each, up over the 2020 model. So that is something, but the nice thing is where the torque and the power is delivered. So the torque on the 2020 CRF250L maximum torque is at 7,000 RPM. On the 2021, the new model, it's at 6,500. So it's 500 RPMs lower down the torque, the maximum torque. So that's nice. The torque curve starts earlier. And then on the power side, it's 9,000 RPM now versus the 8,500. So that means the torque curve lasts longer. Because remember, power is a function of torque and engine speed. So the torque curve has to be longer and it revs higher, so that's why the kilowatts is at a higher RPM. I hope I explained that correctly. I might be incorrect because I didn't check this, but anyways, it has a longer or wider torque curve, so that is nice and more usable. Then number 5, it's got ABS as standard. Now it is a bit unclear here because we only have the press release to go by, and it was translated from Japanese by Google Translate, but the old model had ABS as an option, a $300 extra option, whereas the new model, it says ABS is standard on all the models. So that's something, and it can still disable the ABS in the rear, so that is quite nice because you want to be able to disable ABS. It would be nice if it could disable ABS both front and rear. Far-Freight used to have that full control, but anyways, in the rear where it matters, when you want to stop shorter distance sliding the rear wheel, you can switch it off, so that is nice. Then number 6, and this is only applicable to the 250L rally model, making it more more of a touring bike, is the larger fuel tank. It's got a 12-liter fuel tank now. I think that's 3.4 gallons versus the outgoing model 10.2 liters, which is similar almost to this XR650L, quite a small tank. So the extra 2 liters with the awesome fuel consumption will increase the range and make it more usable as a touring bike. And then number 7, possibly the biggest surprise, is that Honda recently launched the CRF300L and 300L Rally, but only in Thailand. So that begs the question, when is the 300 going to replace the 250? Because that wasn't just launched. I don't know how Honda thinks or how it works. I think the CRFs are all built in Thailand, but why launch the new 250 for 2021 and then the 300 in Thailand? So hopefully it's going to be a short-lived new 250, and we're going to get the 300 all over the world, and especially in the US. And the 300 CRF 300L and L Rally delivers 36% more power, which is awesome, and that's going to help make the 300L Rally an awesome touring bike. I mean, it's already got the long screen, the bigger tank now. There's lots of aftermarket goodies, top boxes, racks, etc. And now a 300cc engine is going to make that the perfect bike. With that fuel injection, it's just going to be awesome. And then I'm going to add another one, and this is actually a surprise that hit me a couple of weeks ago when I read up on the specs. And this is not a good thing. It's the CRF250L Rally. The 2020 model weighs 346 pounds weight. That's on Honda's site, and that is exactly to the pound the same as this big as Honda's XR650L. If you don't believe me, this is Honda's website, Honda USA. Here's the CRF250L. Let's choose the Rally with the ABS. If you go down to dimensions, you'll see there the weight is 346.1 pounds. That's the 2020 model. Now look at the XR650L, again on Honda USA site. We go down to dimensions, 346 pounds, which is a heavy bike. I mean, it's one of the lighter 650 dual sports from the 80s or 90s, but it's still a heavy bike, and I don't know how a 250 can weigh, a modern 250 can weigh the same as this big primitive 650. So it's a good thing that they saved some weight, and this is where I couldn't get accurate figures, because the new 2021 model CRF250L Rally, it says weighs 335 pounds, but they don't specify on the Japanese side whether it's dry or wet. Now I can only assume that it's dry, because or wet, because that makes it 11 pounds lighter than the old model and then the 650L, which it has to be, because if it's a dry weight, then it's going to be heavier filled up than the old model and the 650. So that is a good thing then if it's wet weight, because it means it's quite a bit lighter, 11 pounds lighter than the old 250L from 2020. Thank you for joining us, and please subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up and comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the new 250L and L Rally and the 300 that's coming, and whether you would be interested in a 250 or 300L if we get it. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you next week.